Hello to Jason Buttrill.
Hello, Glenn. Good morning.
Buttrill, how are you, sir? Man who has butt in his last name has got to be good.
Right? How much weight have I gained from people just saying my last name? It's been a lot.
I know. Gained a lot of weight, and I sympathize for you, with you. I really do. Let me play the CNN guest here, Jamaal Bowman, and the higher rate of obesity. Listen.
Your colleagues in the Republican Party do not hold each other accountable when it comes to the racism that comes from the party on a consistent basis.
Congressman, I mean, where are you on?
You can't be calm about this. I'm a black man in America. The reason why heart disease.
I'm white. I can't comment.
Listen to what I'm saying. The reason why heart disease and cancer and obesity and diabetes are bigger in the black community is because of the stress we carry from having to deal with being called the N-word directly or indirectly every day. If your colleagues would listen and try to learn and engage and grow and stop being so hateful, we could have a better country. But unfortunately, we're still here.
Oh my gosh. I don't. I may not be strong enough. Last night, I had to do a fundraiser. I was honored to help with a fundraiser, and I didn't get back until about midnight last night. I get up at 4 a.m., and I didn't go directly to sleep. So I'm operating on the hours that Trump usually gets, except I'm not Donald Trump. I like my CP-seeps. So I might be a little short-tempered today. But I will tell you, I relate to the man who pulled the fire alarm. I do. I relate to him. Nobody holds anybody accountable anymore for anything, especially white people. You know, and he says they have higher rates of obesity and heart disease and cancer and diabetes from the stress they carry, African Americans, from having to deal with being called the N-word directly or indirectly every day. And I think it's the indirectly that we usually dismiss. And I know I've been fat for a long time, out of shape for a long time. And a lot of people would say, Glenn, that's your fault, you fatty. You know what you do? You just can't put the cake down. You just refuse to exercise. No, I won't hear your racism anymore. Okay? I am riddled with skin cancer. Now, some people would say, Glenn, that's because you were born in exactly the right place. You were born in Seattle, Washington, where nobody ever sees the sun, ever. But you decided to move to Phoenix, and you then moved to Texas, and you just decide to just roast every day. The minute you walk out, you turn into a lobster. No, I won't hear it, you bigot. I don't have skin cancer because of that. I'm not fat because of cake. It is the stress that I have to deal with every single day because of people like Jamaal Bowman, who insist on calling me a racist or a sexist or anti-Semitic or Islamophobic. I can't figure that one even out. I'm gaining weight just thinking about it. Homophobic, transphobic. Every day, directly and indirectly, I'm called these names. I mean, listen, can't you hear I'm getting fatter by the second? Can't you hear that I have... Sorry, thought I was having a heart attack there for a second because I was called bad names. Sticks and stones may break your bones, my mother told me, but names will never hurt you. She doesn't know these names that I have been called directly and indirectly for years. Sure, it may not break my bones, but they carve my face up all the time because of the skin cancer caused by people calling me anti-Semitic and strangely Islamophobic, usually at the same time. And my face just starts to bubble up like it's just one giant petri dish of cancer. you don't have any idea. You don't have any idea the trouble Jamaal Bowman has. Would you listen, please? Stop dismissing him. My gosh. You have no idea what people like him go through. May I just say, and this is not Christ-like for me to say, so I probably shouldn't say it, but I'm going to say it as I'm making a decision. Am I going to go to hell for this? Probably. You know, Kamala's stepdaughter, the really ugly one. I'm sorry, did she just gain 5 pounds because I said that? I'm sorry, I didn't call you fat, sweetheart. I just called you ugly. Anyway, I need you to hear about her trauma. Cut 7.
I'm feeling a little trauma walking to the same polling station that I did to vote for Kamala. And, I'm just feeling a lot of hope right now. We did it. I'm feeling a huge mix of emotions. I'm really nervous, but I'm also so hopeful. It's been so spectacular seeing New York come together in this way and rally behind Zohran. And yeah, let's do this, guys.
Yeah! She is so traumatized. She is so traumatized. And I understand that, sweetheart. My parents embarrassed me, not to the extent that your parents have embarrassed you. That loss was, the whole campaign. I could see you could be crippled in bed with the shame that came with, oh, no, it's because you voted for her and then she lost. Yeah, I don't have any sympathy for you. You know how many times I've wanted things and it didn't work out? And, I really don't use the word triggered because I think that's for pussies. And I also really don't use the word traumatized. Unless if you were a hostage, okay? I was in a Liam Neeson movie, and he made me believe I was actually a hostage, and I had to wait an hour and a half before he came in and rescued me. I understand your trauma. Then I understand your trauma. I understand trauma. I was at war. Okay. Your trauma? I'm experiencing a lot of trauma because I had to go in. I'm just a triggering event. I had to go in and vote, and now I got to go in and vote there again. Oh, my. Oh, my. How do you walk? How do you do it? You're so brave. You are just, no, seriously. You're so very brave. Now, I might be traumatizing you again because I'm, of course, a racist, sexist, anti-Semitic, homophobic, transphobic, and Islamophobic, fatty, riddled with skin cancer. So, there you go. Just wanted to start the show just getting that off my chest because it's Friday and we can't carry these things around. We can't carry these things around. Now, John in Ohio was traumatized. And I want to start with his phone call because he's making a very good point, legitimately. He's making a very good point. John in Ohio, welcome to the program.
Hi, Glenn. Yeah, my question is that this has been a weird week listening to you because for years you've been warning us about traditionalism, and you've used Bannon as a perfect example. And I remember watching one of your one-on-one podcasts with a guy who wrote books about traditionalism and how it could infiltrate American churches. And Bannon, and then you've warned us about this kind of level of deception and used Bannon as an example, and then you had him on the show this week. And this is the first time listening to you where I really felt that it's bordered on wasting our time or not really being completely honest with the audience or doing an about-face. So I want to know what changed and why.
Good for you. John, this is the best question I have had in a very long time, and it is my fault that you feel confused because I think I mentioned it the next day, and I should have started with this. Steve Bannon and I disagree on an awful lot of things, and you, as a smart listener and one who has been loyal for a long time, have heard me warn about Steve Bannon, and I have a lot of things to talk about with Steve Bannon, and his friend in Russia is one of those things. However, and this is what I should have started the conversation with, exactly what I just said to you, and then this. However, we are now eating each other alive. Do you notice the time that I had him on? It was during the week when we have Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz tearing each other apart. When we have our conservatives killing each other. And while I do believe that Steve plays a role in traditionalism, et cetera, and that is extraordinarily dangerous, I also, and my problem was not pointing that out to you when I had him on and saying, I still believe those things. However, what I think is important today is to demonstrate that two people who strongly disagree with each other on certain things both understand we cannot continue to separate ourselves. I believe that this is not done just by people who disagree with themselves. Just like, you know what? I'm going to take on Ted Cruz. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take on Tucker Carlson. I don't agree with either one of those at times, and I like both of those guys at times. And I have pretty strong opinions on both of them that might surprise you. However, when I saw Elon Musk and Donald Trump take each other on, I thought to myself, that's the end of the republic. That's the end of the republic. When I see Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz take each other on like that, that's the end of the republic. Because if we continue to divide ourselves to a place to where we can't have a conversation, it's you're all of this or you're all of that, then we are doomed. We are doomed. So what I should have said, and I don't know if it would have made it better for you, but what I should have said was, here is a guy I have real disagreements on, and I have talked about for a very long time. And I'm having him on this week because we must begin to have conversations. And off the air, Steve and I have had very difficult conversations. I met with him. Jason, were you with me when I met with him the first time? Well, how long ago was that? A year ago?
That was about
8 months ago.
Yeah.
About a year ago. And I met with him and had a uncomfortable private conversation, the two of us. And it was at that time that both of us said, this is what we do believe is coming. We do agree on this, that really, really tough times are coming. And we have got to not eat each other alive. That doesn't mean we can't point out the differences and the strong differences. But if we can't make allies on our own side while pointing out the truth, we're in trouble. And so I'm sorry for the confusion on that. I'm glad you brought this up because it bothered me because I got off the air yesterday and somebody wrote to me and said, Glenn, I don't understand. And I wish I would have done it differently. It just didn't occur to me. Sometimes I just think you're in my head. And you know, but as my wife tells me all the time, no, we didn't have that conversation, Glenn. No, we didn't have that conversation. So sorry to do to you what I apparently do to my wife all the time. No, I swear I told you this, honey. We talked about this. No, we didn't. Thank you for calling in. 888-727-BECK. Let me tell you about Leaf Filter. I don't know about you, but pretty much every time I would have to climb up a ladder, I have trauma because I fell out of a 2-story window once. And I am so triggered now by ladders and everyone on ladders. I have to eat cake when I even see a ladder. I'm going to have at least a cupcake just from mentioning the word ladder on the air. This is how the white man does you. Anyway, when you're on ladder duty, cleaning out your home's gutters, it's one of life's dumbest rituals. It's dangerous, it's disgusting, and the reward is a handful of roof mold and a funeral with embarrassing causes of death. So why do we keep doing it? Because we have to, right? Those gutters have to be cleaned. They're not going to clean themselves, or are they? Sorry, sounded like Adam West for a second. Or are they, my young friend? Change all of it with Leaf Filter. Leaf Filter is a stainless steel micromesh system that installs right into your existing gutters, and it keeps everything out. And here's the best part. They install it for you in one day. One and done. And after that, you never have to say the word ladder ever again. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to go get your free inspection. Get up 30% off your entire purchase at Leaf Filter, leaffilter.com/glennbeck, leaffilter.com/glennbeck. See representative for warranty details. It is leaffilter.com/glennbeck. 10 seconds, station ID. All right. Hello, Jason. How are you?
Hello, Glenn. I love that last caller. Oh, my gosh. That is exactly the type of person that I want to talk to and actually have a discussion with.
Wow, that sounds a little hostile. I have to have a cupcake or maybe a cookie on that one.
No, it's like, we need to be, welcoming these kinds of conversations, especially. That's why I actually loved your conversation with Steve Bannon, is because that's a real issue on the left right now. Like, what's that social network that, is supposed to be like a, competition to X, but they were immediately just deplatforming.
Blue Sky.
Yeah, Blue Sky. They were immediately just deplatforming people that had a different opinion. And that is why they're in such a hard time ideologically right now. Yeah. We need to...
I will...
Go ahead.
I'll tell you, and I could be wrong on this. With advisors like you, I probably am. But
right.
I could be wrong on this, that, there are things that we have to say out loud to one another. There are things that we have to say, I believe this is very, very dangerous that you're engaging in. And Steve's a big boy with big boy pants, and he can handle that. Coming from me, he can handle that. And we have those discussions. I am extraordinarily concerned that, let me put it this way. If I were China, if I were Russia, if I were, I'm just going to go out and buy a new Iranian flag, and I'm just so dumb as a box of rocks. I don't even know what it means, but I hate America. Down with America. I love the mullahs. If I'm one of those guys, the thing that would make me the happiest is to see our side tear each other apart. And I don't want any part of that. It doesn't mean I'm not going to point out the truth. It doesn't mean that I'm going to turn a blind eye. If I disagree with Steve Bannon on things, I'm going to continue to tell you what I've told you. And maybe it's my age, and I think the sign of the times. We can't keep doing that, and it's why I am going to hell for what I said about Kamala Harris's ugly stepdaughter. See, I did it again. I shouldn't have said that. We have to be more tolerant of one another, especially those we have 80% agreement with.
This is Glenn Beck.
All right. There is a big gap in personal defense. I don't know if I made that any better. Apparently, I went out and I endorsed Ken Paxton yesterday. I got off stage and my son said, "Did you just endorse him?" And I said, "No." And he said, "I think you did, Dad." Sorry. A little tired today. Anyway, you got pepper spray on one side. You got a firearm on the other side. And for most people, neither one of them feels quite right. That's why I tell people about Byrna, the Byrna launcher. It fills that gap, giving you a non-lethal option that is still powerful enough to stop the threat. And it fires high-velocity projectiles loaded with pepper or tear gas and kinetic rounds that, buy you time to escape or de-escalate the situation. It's easy to use. It's compact. It's legal in all 50 states. You don't have to have a permit or anything. There's no waiting period, no red tape, no red flags. You don't need to be a tactical expert to carry a Byrna. You just need to have one. Let's be honest, this world is not getting any safer at all. I want you to go to Byrna, Byrna.com, Byrna.com, glennbeck.com. Use their retail store locator to find the nearest location offering live demonstrations, including select Sportsman's Warehouse stores. Byrna.com.
Big changes are ahead, transforming history and how we learn about it. Keep track at glennbeck.com.
Oh, my gosh. There is a show behind the show today. I wish those cameras would just keep going because it's showing my staff to be insubordinate. I understand they've already edited part of this show without my knowledge. And I'm not happy about it, Sarah. I'm not happy about it. Not. She's not going to respond to me, is she? Okay. Well, Jason, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Glenn.
I'm continuing to be abused today. I'm getting fatter by the minute, just like Bowman said. He has to deal with being called the N-word directly and indirectly, and that's why he has heart disease, diabetes, cancer. I would think it might be the food that he's shoving in his fat mouth, but apparently not. It's being called the N-word. You know, when I'm called all kinds of names, racist, sexist, anti-Semitic, homophobic, transphobic, Islamophobic. I've been called a Nazi every day for the last 20 years. And you know what I don't do? I don't go and record a song calling all my friends that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't like it. And so I don't record music and then pump it out into society. I just don't do that. I don't do that. So could it be that word is something that is really, really horrible, but you've decided to embrace and then use as an axe to grind? I'm just saying. I think that word is really, really awful. Not like the word that was taken out of the show today, Sarah, without my knowledge nor permission. But, I mean, I'm sure you know the FCC rules much more than I do.
I mean, if I was offended, I'm pretty sure a couple others might be too.
You were not offended. You're drunk.
Same thing. Same thing.
I saw Sarah gain like 10 pounds and get skin cancer right off that one word. It was insane.
Right off the bat. Well, you know what might help is maybe we could free the Holy Land 5. Have you heard the latest? First of all, we've got to play some of these. Let me see if I can find them here. Some of the latest comments from Mamdani, who is running to be the mayor of New York, and I predict will win, because New Yorkers are insane. But anyway, listen to him about his platform. Cut one.
You are running on issues that are very relevant to people in New York City: the cost of housing, free busing. Some have projected, that this is the type of platform that would work in other parts of the country. I mean, you're a proud democratic socialist. Do you think that is a platform that would work for other candidates running in other parts of the country?
Absolutely. I think ultimately this is a campaign about inequality. And you don't have to live in the most expensive city in the country to have experienced that inequality, because it's a national issue. And what Americans coast to coast are looking for are people who will fight for them, not just believe in the things that resonate with their lives, but actually fight and deliver on those very things. And part of how we got to this point was through the endorsements of Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Senator Bernie Sanders, who've been leading this fight against oligarchy across the country. And I think that in focusing on working people and their struggles, we also return back to what makes so many of us proud to be Democrats in the first place.
Right. Communism. I think that's great. So, I hear all the time the talk about free bus fare. It's all over here in the heartland. It's all over. I've been hearing it from the farmers everywhere. They're like, what I want a candidate to talk about is free buses, because who's going to pay for that? Actually, no, I don't hear anybody who is actually working for a living and paying taxes talk about free bus fare. because that would raise their taxes. So I don't hear that. That's weird. But the good news is he's going to Trump-proof New York City. Cut to.
I've proposed is that we raise $10 billion to pay for our entire economic agenda and start to Trump-proof our city, because we know he'll use federal funding as leverage over this city. And we will do so in two key ways. The first is to match the state's top corporate tax rate to that of New Jersey. We are at 7.25%. They're at 11.5%. Corporations can pay it over there. Gosh. They can pay it over here. And the beauty of it is that it doesn't just apply to corporations headquartered in New York City. Because when you say this, people will say, well, they're going to go to Florida. Mm-hmm. Wherever you are headquartered, as long as you do business in the state of New York, you are taxable for that corporate tax. We're talking about corporations that are making millions of dollars, not in revenue, but in profit. And the second is taxing the top 1% of New Yorkers. We're talking about people who make $1 million a year or more, taxing them just by a flat 2% tax increase. And I know if 50 Cent is listening, he's not going to be happy about this. Mm-hmm. He tends to not like this tax policy, but I want to be very clear. Mm-hmm. This is about $20,000 a year. It's a rounding error. And all of these things together, they make every New Yorker's life better, including those who are actually getting taxed.
Right. It does. I know, when they increase my taxes, I think to myself, this is making my life better. Who doesn't think that? Honestly, who doesn't think that? So let me just see if I get this right. Help me out here, Jason, because I'm a little fuzzy. I'm a little tired today, so I can't do the math. I don't think I could do the math this complicated. So it doesn't matter if you're headquartered in New York or New York City. If you are going to do any kind of business in New York, they're going to take your tax rate to, what did he say, 7.5 to?
Over 11.
Over 11%. And that is for the privilege of selling your product or doing any business in New York.
Right.
I got news for you. I'm totally fine, pulling out of New York, making sure that nothing. New York, you're on your own. Good luck with that. I'm sorry. I don't think you can do that. Well, you can if you're the European Union, and that's working out really well for them. But I don't think it's going to work out well for New York. Now, he did compare it to New Jersey, which is a booming business state. That is seriously. That is, people are lining up with U-Hauls just to get into that state, mainly so they can pick up their stuff and get out of that state. But I think that's going to work out well. Going to work out well.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, and that's essentially, it's interesting you mentioned the European Union, because this is essentially what they were trying to impose through Green New Deal, Paris Accord type stuff. So basically, anybody that does business with company A will have the same restrictions as B, C, D, all down the line. Good luck, New York, because you are done. The economic engine of the world is done if you do these things. But I think that he doesn't understand, or maybe he does, I don't know. But the mayor of New York City can't really do these things. Maybe this is just populism on a far left corner.
No, he could do these things along with his city council.
So he's going to need the city council. I think he might even need the governor.
Which is not going to be hard. Not going to be hard. It's New York, Jason. I've lived there. It's going to be very easy. Very easy. That is the entire Communist Party. You're like, hey, do the communist parties, do they have Communist Party of New York? Do they have meetings? Yeah. What day is the city council meeting? I mean, really, that's the way it is. So you got that going for you. Now, the other thing that I really like is this guy has deep economic experience. First of all, he was in a movie directed by his mother. Mm-hmm. And he speaks in several different accents, including, strangely, an Indian accent. Where he sounds like, an Indian just off the boat. Do we have it? Yeah, go ahead, play this, please.
Because I think that New Yorkers, more than they hate a politician they disagree with, they hate a politician they can't trust.
On the subject of trust, you've adopted different speaking accents in different scenarios.
But they go to their local bodega.
Is there one that's real and one that's affected?
What I would say is, as any immigrant knows, having been born in Kampala, Uganda, and then raised in South Africa and moving here when I'm 7 years old, is there are different parts of my life. Worldwide tour is a worldwide tour is a worldwide tour.
Mamdani was talking about a worldwide press tour back when he was a rapper.
Bring the flavor to the fish, bring the flavor to the rice.
In a Disney movie directed by his mother.
Nepotism and hard work
Mommy got me.
goes a long way. Here in New York City,
Goes a
this
long
is how
way.
I speak.
Listen to that. A long way. This hard work goes a long way. What the hell is that? What a phony this guy is. A lot of hard work. It goes a long way. Mommy put me under her skirt when I was 5. What is that? Now, he's lived all over the world. Well, I've lived all over the country. You know, I might say y'all once in a while, but I also might say you guys once in a while. I say soda, and I also say pop. Never soda pop, because that's just weird. But I say both of them. But I never say it like this. Ever. I mean, what? What is the deal with the fake accents from the Democrats? Why? It's like they have, I mean, I know they have no soul, but it's like they have absolutely nothing real inside of them. They're just like this shape. Oh, they're shapeshifters. That's why. They're actually lizard people who are shapeshifters. Don't say that out loud. Shh, it's just between us. You, me, and the other 11 million people. That's just us. Okay. Now, he also has made a big deal out of the Holy Land 5. And I want to get into that when we come back, because this one is really interesting. Who are the Holy Land 5? Well, they're his dogs. And I don't mean like he puts them on leash. I mean, hey, who am I to say? That's not wrong. Put people on leashes, make them bark like actual dogs. There's nothing wrong with that. You're perfectly normal. But they're his boys, the Holy Land 5. We're going to get into that one from his great rap number called, I don't know, crappy rap. I don't know what it was called, but it talks about his boys, the Holy Land 5. We're going to get into that in just a second. First, let me tell you about Cozy Earth. I used to think sheets were sheets. You know, I am a sheet snob. I really am. And sheets are sheets. They usually feel like sandpaper, you know. And then, you know, I went to a hotel once that had really good sheets, and I was like, oh my gosh, what are these sheets made of? It's like cotton, but it's cotton that has like 400 thread count or whatever the number is supposed to be. And then you go try to buy those sheets, and you're like, that's crazy. Cozy Earth makes really great sheets. Cozy Earth, they make towels, they make loungewear, which is material which is naturally temperature regulating, breathable, crazy soft. Cozy Earth makes great sheets. I wear their pajamas every single night. I have a couple of pair of their pajamas. I wear them every night. My wife wears them every single night. Of course, hers has a big sign on it, like, don't even think about it, you. I don't know what that means, but the Cozy Earth pajamas are really great. And if you're tired of being sweaty, you know, you want luxury and comfort all wrapped up in one, make the switch to Cozy Earth today. They have a 100-night sleep trial. They have a 10-year warranty. If you're not in love with them, you can send them back. They make great clothing. They make great loungewear and sheets. So Cozy Earth, just try them. Use my name, Beck, for up to 40% off their best-selling products right now. It's CozyEarth.com. Use the promo code Beck. CozyEarth.com, promo code Beck.
Common sense ain't common anymore, is it? Time to wake up and wrangle the sheep. Glenn Beck continues next.
So let me play some of the super, super classic rap from Mamdani. Here he is. It was his little rap called Salam. Yeah, I have no idea what he just said in that. But that's, I mean, I'm like that with all rap songs. So what he said was, me, Alamo, Zohran, my love to the Holy Land 5, you better look them up. All right, so we did a long time ago. But here to refresh our memory is Jason Buttrill. Jason, the Holy Land 5, could you bring America back up to speed?
What's crazy is, unless you are in some way connected ideologically to this, there's no real reason why most people would ever heard of the Holy Land 5 or the Holy Land Foundation. And I've been accused of throwing on a few tinfoil hats in my time. But, I mean, this is pretty dang blatant on what his motivations are. The guy behind the guy. So just to, like you said, refresh, the Holy Land 5, this comes from a court case, the United States of America versus the Holy Land Foundation. So in a nutshell, this case revealed for the very first time an elaborate scheme launched by the Muslim Brotherhood to shift sentiment.
Hang on just a second. Let me just for those who are keeping score, Muslim Brotherhood, bad. Okay, so I just want to speak down to, or I mean, just clarify to some people who may have voted last week. I just want to keep score here. Holy Land Foundation, bad. Muslim Brotherhood, worse. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, we're going way back in the history books here because Muslim Brotherhood, I'll go even further. They're the ones that created modern day Salafist jihadism. So modern day terrorists like Osama bin Laden, they all took reference from the grandfather of terrorism. His name was Hassan Banna. Anyway, this case was all about funneling money to the American organization that would get sentiment, cash, everything to funnel back to Hamas and kill Jews and lead to things like October 7th. So he's praising these guys that got busted in this case. Insane.
Right. Now, here's the bad thing. In Canada, the youth are now looking at the clerics of Iran with higher regard than they do the United States of America. This guy is going to do for Islam what Barack Obama did for Marxism. Mark my word.